Our love. I found her when I wasn't looking for anyone. In a new school, new assembly, I didn't know she was the one. A sudden teenage hormone rush, a sweet fantasy, she pierced my imagination deep down permanently. But I left that school. But she didn't leave. Followed my daydreams interweaved. She was in my mind all the time, but just in my mind. To see her face, different ways I used to find. Be it by going back to that school, going to different fairs in town. Fate sometimes helped me too, like in one debate competition, her I found. But I knew I lost her. Lost due to my lack of confidence to talk. Days went by, weeks, months and years with just my mouth locked. Then things happened in life, dad passed away, time flew by. And those days I only wished I had someone with whom I can cry. After a year, when I left the town to the city, I found confidence to call her. Her voice was so pretty. She was frank and so easy to talk to, and slowly we became friends as if we were meant to. It was after she came to the city as well that we became best friends. I remember we told each other so many times we are best friends. But the way we talked and walked, it didn't seem so at all. I liked her a lot, tried to confess her once, but that no, and I left it all. I was a fool. I didn't totally recognize what was inside me. I was a fool. I didn't know things like this takes time to be. But after a few months, the same time that was bringing us closer made her to go away to a different country. I remember how very sad I was that day. But I also remembered that first call we had after so long. I was a fool even then, didn't recognize she was where I belonged. And it happened. When she was so close to me, I slipped away. I chose a different, wrong person for me. My stupidity reached its height that day. Well, time flew, things happened. And one day I unknowingly broke her heart. She still loved her friendship, but she couldn't handle that part. We didn't talk for a month, but fate had its own story to write. That wrong person I chose left me, and without my best friend, I wasn't alright. Slowly I recovered. So did her heart and our friendship. I started to see again that desire in me to start with her a new relationship. I was fantasizing again with her my whole life, so real as told to me by my wife, and the day came, but I was late again. She slipped away. She chose another person. The history repeated on its own way. Left alone, I decided to keep at least our friendship alive. Accepted the fact I have lost her. This is how I should survive. So, as time went on, I started looking for it somewhere elsewhere. But all I met were new wrong people. I felt I belonged nowhere. I did confess to her, proposed her many times, but nothing happened. I was late for good this time. And then history repeated again. This time I left the country far away. But she couldn't make it to me, couldn't meet her before I took the airway. Year passed. I again started looking for it here and there, elsewhere. But again, all I used to meet were new wrong people without being aware. Then I chose one among those new wrong people, just to know how wrong I could get, and in this process I broke her heart even bad, deep inside that she couldn't forget. After all this mess, when I finally lost all my strength to look for it anymore, on a New Year day talking to her, I realized inside my core. That whole day, my mind went crazy, couldn't stop thinking at all about her. That's when I decided to stop this nonsense and give myself totally to her. I told her that I love her and I won't be running away from now. She can decide not to love me back, but I will stay. I take this vow. It was really hard, but I knew I was doing what I wanted from inside. Pain and rejection hit me again and again, but I faced all those tides. Slowly, with time, I saw that flower inside her, starting to grow. Green leaves taking the sunshine, love starting to sow. Slowly, she showed her love, her emotions, little by little, and tried to understand my part, my mistakes, my love, and my will. As she tried to see things from my side and start to forgive me one by one, that love started to blossom in us, our love as a fresh rising sun. All this time, I was wandering here and there, like a child lost in a crowded street. And finally, I was home. She was my home, my sweetheart, my only heartbeat.